Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 6.5. The chapter which we are related with is chapter number 6, chapter number 6, rate of interest, interest calculation, and bond valuation. Managerial finance by Lawrence Gitman we do have, and this is 13th edition. 6.5, we are actually still at primary stage. Complicated questions are still to come, and here's simple headings and formats, graphs, their meanings, concepts we are taking. That is why these are not very complicated questions. Simple is this, we are trying to understand the concepts. And here there are three very basic things related to interest. First is nominal rate of interest, then inflation rate, and then real rate of interest. We actually wants to discuss the conceptual point of view of these three things. Look, the heading is saying nominal rate of interest and yield curves. Obviously, we will be making graphs, but first, let's see what is this nominal rate of interest. Actually, what you are getting from any investment organization, that is nominal rate of interest, but it is associated with real rate of interest. What is happening? You will get your nominal rate from bank, from securities, from bonds, or from any investment organization. That rate which you are receiving from that particular organization is nominal rate. Let's say from that organization you have received 10% in 1 year. On the other hand, what happens? The price of commodities which you are interested to buy, the prices of those commodities have been increased due to inflation. So even you are getting 10% from investment organization, but actually this would not be 10% because inflation, due to inflation, this 10%, with this 10% increase, you will not be able to buy the same product which you were willing to buy. So what you will have to do, you will be subtracting the inflation rate from nominal rate. This way you can calculate your real rate of interest. So what we have supposed, if 10% rate you are receiving from investment organization and inflation rate was 2%, so actually 8% you have received from your investment. So it's very simple thing. You have to create a conceptual space in your mind. The real rate of interest is actual benefit you have taken by investing your amount due to increase in prices. For example, last year you have purchased a product for rupees 10. Now that product is for rupees 12. So obviously you have to arrange, or you will have to make your budget accordingly. You will have to increase your budget. So this inflation will directly impact upon nominal rate. So the percentage which you are receiving from investment company is closely associated with inflation rate as well. So whatever the rate of inflation is, you will subtract to get your actual benefit you have taken from the investment. So I'm sure you have understood the concept. Okay, let's get back to the question. And we are at this stage where different periods are present. For 3 months, inflation rate is 5%, for 2 years, 6, and this detail is given for rate of inflation. All right. And what is our requirement? If real rate of interest is 2.5, that means real rate. Find the nominal rate of interest. Come to the point, and here we will discuss the time period and then real rate of inflation, and then we can see nominal rate as well. So let's talk about the first option. And what is our requirement? Find the nominal rate. So here we need to calculate this nominal rate, that is our requirement. And currently 2.55% is real rate. US Treasury issues 20-year bond, 3-month bond, 2-year note, 5-year bond. So these are different periods mentioned over here. Reference of inflation is already present. Since we are needed to calculate the nominal rate, from here you will squeeze the formula. Look over here, inflation rate is being subtracted over here, and you want to take it to the opposite side of is equal to. What will happen? When you will take it to the opposite side, signs would be changed. Here it is subtracted, and by transferring it to the opposite side, sign would be changed and it would be added. So real rate was already present on left side, and you are taking this inflation to the opposite side. It would now be added inflation rate, and what you will get on right side of is equal to, that is your nominal rate of return. So guys, we have got our formula, and we will be putting this formula to calculate our requirement. Let's little adjustment is needed. Let's adjust them. Okay, so for nominal rate, we will put that formula which we have just created over here. Real rate would be added in inflation rate. So real rate would be added in inflation rate, with which what you will get? Nominal rate. Let's try to wrap it up if it can. Sometimes this button does not work, and same had happened. This button is not working. Let's have a space over here. Now again we will try, and it is not merged again. Okay, one more space we need. Let's make it again. So guys, we need to calculate our nominal rate, and we have created its pattern. And first time period which is discussed in question, for that let's go back. We need to put 20-year bond. All right, so here we have 20 years. First, real rate is given in your requirement. Look over here. If real rate of interest is 2.5%, so simply you will put 2.5 over here. And next you will be posting your inflation rate, and here inflation rate is given in your question. Average annual inflation rate, but we are doing for 20 years, it is 9%. So put 9% over here. Real rate was 2.5% for 20 years. So guys, we have filled, and now you must be attentive with the formula. What you have to do, simple is this: real rate would be added in inflation rate. Real rate is 2.5 and 9%. So simply 2.5 would be added in 9 to get your nominal rate. This was requirement, and answers are mentioned. Look over here. First answer is 11.5, and next requirement is for 3 months. Okay, put your B requirement over here, and you need to make it for 3 months. Real rate is shared with every other option. So we have 3 months real rate 2.5%, and we'll have to see for 3 months how much inflation rate, and that is 5%. So put 5% over here, and as usual this real rate would be added in inflation. 2.3 was your real rate, you will add inflation rate, that was 5. So we have got our second answer, 7.3%. what we have added 2.5 is actually the amount. Typographically it has written as 2.5. So we have got 7.5. Look, second answer is 7.5, and third option is for 2 years. All right, come over here, write down third option, and third option is for 2 years. Next, 2.5% would remain same as its real rate of interest. Inflation rate for, look over here, we need to get inflation rate for 2 years. 2 year inflation rate is 6%. Put 6% over here, and as usual we will be adding real rate and inflation. Real rate was 2.5 and you will add inflation rate 6. You have got your third answer 8.5, and that is shown over here. Then finally we need to put 5-year bond. So 5 years is our next option, D, and real rate would remain same 2.5%, and you need to put inflation rate for 5 years. Go back to the question. 5 years 8%, write down 8% over here. Finally you will add real rate and inflation. Real rate 2.5, inflation rate 8. We'll have to put it manually, otherwise. So 2.5 plus 8%, we have got 10.5%, and answer was mentioned as 10.5. So in this way our first part, A part, has been completed. Let's mark it as it has been done. So this was your A part. Now let's see what B part is saying. If real rate of interest suddenly dropped to 2%, original rate was 2.5 and now it is 2% without any change in inflationary expectations, what effect, if any, would this have on your answers in part A? Just by changing your real rate of interest from 2.5 to 2. Okay. In second part, what we are going to do, just copy it instead of writing it again. Put everything as usual for your B part, except for one thing. It has been said that you will change your rate from 2.5 to 2%. So this rate would remain same for every other option. This was our requirement, to change your real rate from 2.5 in A part, and now it would become 2. So obviously the inflation rate for 20 years same, remaining everything would not be altered, and finally you will take the result. You need to add real rate in inflation. Your real rate was 2, inflation 9, so you have got 11, and same function you will be doing 2 plus 5 and then 2 plus 6 and finally 2 plus 11. So we have got our answers 11, 7, 8, 13. Look over here, 11, 7, 8, and why it has been changed. So we need to put 8. 2 plus 8, 10. Answers are 11, 7, 8, 10. 11, 7, 8, 10. So it means we have completed our B part as well. Let's see what C part is saying. Using your finding in part A, draw a yield curve for US Treasury securities. Describe general shape and expectations. Look, in A part, we do have different time periods from 20 years, 3 months, 2 years, and 5 years. And we have our nominal rate of interest present over here, 11.5, and we are going to draw it. In C part, let's mark it as C part. We need to make a graph for which Let's choose our axis. For y-axis, least amount is 7.5 and maximum amount is 11.5. Again, we will be making our graph in a sense of division. I'm just telling you what is that mean. So first we will draw our y-axis, okay, a perpendicular, and then we will be putting x-axis. Two axes are created, and here you will cut it off because our requirement is little different, tiny requirement, so we'll have to divide this cell into different parts. Okay, so we need to insert shapes. Choose this. Okay, so first and then second, and we have third. Finally third. So what this curve is showing, I was actually settling it. Let's settle down. Okay, it is settled. What this cut means, when you want to put the required figures in your axis, but required figure does not need any previous figures as well to shorten our y-axis. That is why we will cut it off, as our requirement is from 7.5 to 11.5. Just 3-4 points we need, so we don't need to put the whole table from zero point 0.5 to 11.5. Instead of that, we will just start our table from 7.5. This is our first point, and then you will add 0.5. It would become 8, then 8.5, add 0.5 for next 9, 9.5, and then we have 10. Then we need to put 10.5, 11, 11.5. Let's see if our requirement completes. Yes, 11.5 is our final requirement, but our graph again needs more lines at y-axis. So guys, in this way your graph has been completed. I mean, their inputs are completed for B part, and on x-axis what you will do, you need to put these years, and obviously these years are needed to put in a sequence 1 to 20 years. So 5 table, 4 table, okay, we are choosing 4, 8, 12, 16 and 20. Maximum requirement was for 20 because you can see that nothing is more than 20 years. So here let's arrange it. Now we will start putting our points, but I need to arrange it just to put it little down because space is not enough over here. Okay guys, we have completed our target. Now we will start pointing out according to table we have found out, and we will choose a pointer over here to make our graph accurate. So first point, let's go back. For A part graph is needed for 20 years 11.5, come to 20 years which is over here, and next is for 20 years you need to put 11.5. This is your 11.5. So we have completed first point. Let's see what is second. 3 months. So in 4 years your 3 months would be just beside the first line, because in between starting point to end point 4 years. So 3 months would be just beside the y-axis. For 3 months we have 7.5. 7.5 is over here. So our point has been completed. Now let's see what is our next point. For 2 years, let's go back to the 2 year. 2 year in between 0 and 4 we have at the same place. This is 2 year and your nominal rate is 8.5. 8.5 is present over here. So this is also completed. Let's get back for the next. Last point is 5 years. 5 would be in between 4 and 8, and I think this is to be considered as 5. For 5 year we need to go at 10.5. 10.5 is present exactly over here. So our graph has been completed, and now we will join these points with each other. For that we need a straight line. Let's join our first point, and I think 3 points can be joined at the same time. It is completed, and last point would be joined as this way. So guys, our graph has been completed. On x-axis you have put your time period. On y-axis you have placed your nominal rate. Since it was already mentioned in part A, so that is why I have waited for it. This is your C part where graph was required. Okay, let's get back to the question. In C, you were asked to draw a yield curve. Okay, describe general shape and expectations reflected by curve. General shape, you can see that first thing that can be mentioned, it has positive slope showing direct relation. And what does that mean, direct relation? Due to increase in time period, rate of return is also increasing. So this was your requirement in C, where it was asked to draw a yield curve and describe general shape. And general shape we have discussed. Why we are calling it positive? Because it is continuously increasing. As you can see, no point is going down. With the passage of every next point, your curve is progressive. Your curve is at inclined side, where your curve is continuously increasing. That is why it is called positive slope. Continuous increase, continuously inclining. This is called positive slope, and this would create a relationship between two elements as direct. And what does that mean? If you will increase one element, maybe y or maybe x-axis, second element is also increasing. So at here we were related with time period. As you are increasing your time period at x-axis, your rate, nominal rate is also increasing on y-axis. C part is completed. Now let's go back and see what our D part is saying. What would the follower liquidity preference theory say? Liquidity preference is saying that it is our D point, where you want to have maximum amount in liquid form to meet your expenditures. Right now we will not discuss in detail liquidity preference theory, as it is another topic which would start. Right now just understand the one user who wants to have their wealth in liquid form. So they are preferring liquidity. Okay, so our graph is showing that in long run, your requirement is for the long run. As you are increasing your time period, your rate is continuously increasing. Due to increase your time period, your rate is increasing. So finally, what you can decide, if your time period is increasing, it means demand for long run investment is more than demand of short run investment. We will write it first, but first just keep in your mind what we are saying. As you are increasing your term, that means you are going to long term. 20 years would be considered long term and 3 months would be considered short term. For short term requirement is less, that is why your nominal rate is less. So what conclusion we are making? If you are going for long run, your rate of interest has been increased. So in this way, the final conclusion which you will make is for long run, demand of funds for long run period is more than demand of funds for shorter period of time. That is very clear, because you can see that if you want to take loan for, if you want to invest your amount, or loan takers, loan seekers, for shorter period of time, they don't want to have it. That is why you can have less rate of interest. As you want to get your amount for the longer period of time, rate of interest would be increased. This is your D point. Okay, where liquidity preference we have used. And finally at E point, market segmentation. Market segmentation, there are different products present in the market. So you just see what this curve is showing. Look, there are some expenditure which are for long run, some expenditures are for short run. So I'm giving you an example. When you want to make a house, when you want to make a building, that and you need fund for the building, this fund is used for the long run expenditure. This is first example for long run. For short term period, let's say if you want to pay your electricity bill, if you want to pay your tax, if you want to pay your grocery bill, if you want to pay your rental expenditure, this is shorter period of expenses for the shorter period of time. And you want to purchase property, this is an expense for the longer period of time. So hopefully you understood. If you want to have investment for longer period of time, you have to pay more rate of interest. For shorter sort of expenses, you will pay less rate of interest. And this is, we are going to write here, for needs of longer period of time. For example, to buy a property or any real estate requirement, one will need longer period funds, for which higher rate of interest would be available. Okay, this was our first conclusion we have made. For market segmentation, what we have discussed, there are different sort of products available in the market. Some products are for shorter period of time, some products are for longer period of time. Like if you want to purchase property, if you want to invest in real estate, that would be for longer period of time and you will have to pay more interest. And just opposite to this, for need of shorter period of time, like rental expenses, grocery bills, one would need short term funds for which demand is less, hence rate of return is also less. In this way, your second conclusion have been completed, and this was your requirement of the question. It's a simple thing. If you want to have loan for or funds for longer period of time, you will have to pay higher rate of interest. When you want to have loan for shorter period of time, for short-term expenditures need, you will have to pay less rate of return. So the conclusions are also completed. Look, the important thing which we have learned from this question has been completed. All requirements are completed. The important thing was to know the difference between real rate of interest and nominal rate. How you will get your real rate of interest? The rate which you are getting from investment organization, when you will subtract inflation from this nominal rate, you will get real rate. I am requesting you to please note it down. It would be very helpful for your next question. We have used the same formula to calculate our nominal rate. And secondly, impact of changes in real rate. This was for B requirement. Your real rate has been changed, due to which your nominal rate was also changed. Then in C part, we have created a graph relationship between time period and nominal rate, where we have learned as you will increase your time period, your nominal rate would be increased. And finally, theoretical portion D and E, we have discussed that since demand for longer period funds for longer period of time is more than the demand of shorter period funds, that is why as you will seek funds for the longer period of time, you will have to pay more interest. Then finally, in market segmentation, we have divided two products, like property for the longer period of time, for which you will have to pay more rate of interest, and for your rental expenses, short term funds are needed and you will pay shorter type of shorter rate of or smaller rate of return. So in this way, all A, B, C, D, E parts are completed. How many parts there were? So A to E parts are completed. We have reviewed them and solution is in front of you. But even then, I am offering you, if you have any problem of understanding any word, any statement, any concept in the question, you are very open to ask your queries through messages, text, or you can directly meet to share your queries. I am 100% be trying to answer your queries instantly. For the time being, 6.5 is completed and we will be meeting soon again for the solution of any other question in future, inshallah. Up till then, please take care of yourself, and I'm requesting you to please pray for me as well, and a humble request to please repeat this question for more than once. 6.5 is ended. It's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much for your time. Allah Hafiz.